Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. This is Poetry Flash's first virtual reading, and there will be many more to come. To receive our emails on what's upcoming, just see the chat box to sign up for our email list if you're not already on it. You are muted upon entry. Please be sure to stay muted. This reading is being recorded, and we will post the recording link on our Facebook page in the coming days. And let's see. I can see Toby from here. I saw Dale just quickly. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here. This is a historic event. If you're having any technical issues, just go into the chat box and into the text box and chat to the administrator of the meeting, Molly, and she will do her best to assist you. You can find info about the reader's books and where you can purchase them, direct links about the reader's books in the chat box. You can purchase Devorah Major's book, Caliphia's Daughter, that we are celebrating today, directly from the link, her publisher's link in the chat box, and James Cagney's book, Black Steel Magnolias in the Hour of Chaos Theory, via the bookshop.org link via Mo's Books in the chat box. I need to tell you that Devorah suddenly fell ill this morning. And we don't know what's happening yet. We truly do not, or I would tell you, but she fell quite ill, and we're trying to find out more now, but she will not be able to read today. And San Francisco's current poet laureate, Kim Shuck, will be reading Devorah's work and telling you a little bit about Devorah today. So here to introduce the poets, Associate Editor Richard Silberg. His very first Zoom. Go ahead, quick. There you go.
Hi everyone. We are really excited to get the Poetry Flash reading series going again, getting it revved up, because it's a very important part of what we do for poetry. The website, is of course dealing with poetry on the page. But as we know, poetry is very much an oral art. The mystical total poem is both page and voice and presence of the poet. So this is our this
Richard, you're muted. Now can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay, no one heard anything you said. It's okay. It's my fault. I looked down here and you weren't. I didn't realize that you weren't. That you were muted.
So we'll start again.
Yeah, just go for it. Quicker. Yeah. Just, yeah.
Hi, everyone. We are delighted. Anita, this is my first time on Zoom, and I'm seeing people, and it's like old home week here. I'm trying to figure out who is where, and am I all in one piece and together here on the screen. Hi, Anita. It's wonderful to see you. Now, we are excited to get this revved up again, to get the Poetry Flash reading series going, because it's a very important, central part of the work that we do for poetry. Uh, poetryflash.org. There's, of course, the calendar that I think Joyce mentioned, but interviews, poems, essays, think pieces are all dealing with poetry on the page. But as we know, it's an oral art as well. The mystical total poem is something that happens both on the page and orally with the spiritual and oral presence of the poet, the sound of voice, the rhythms of speech, the attack of words, the way it all flows melodically in the way that speech is melodic. So here we go with the oral poem. Now, we wish we could be bringing you devorah. We have we've actually got 3 wonderful poets in some sort of presence here today. We have Devorah Major, who we really deeply wish could be here, but as a partial compensation, as a benefit, we've got Kim Shuck, who is very close to Devorah. She is the current poet laureate. Devorah, I believe, was the 3rd poet laureate. So we've got a 3rd and a 7th, which is a way out jazz chord right there, plus two poets. Kim is very wonderful. And so thank you, Kim. First, let me show you Devorah's beautiful new book. I'm hoping you can see this.
Lower, Richard. Yeah, that's it.
Califia's daughter, as Devorah explains in an epigraph at the beginning of the book, Califia is the name that Cortez gave to California, the name of a mythical African Amazon. So here's that mythical.
Lower.
I'm looking at the screen and I gotta have it up there.
Okay.
Now her book begins with stardust. It begins with our astronomical presence, which of course, as we know, is really true. Everything, all of our chemical makeup comes from stars. So she begins there, braiding out into the universe, and she comes closer into her Bahamian ancestry, into her family, into elegies. She's ending with love. So this is a melodious, warm, embracing book. And so Kim will be, who knows this book and knows Devorah, will be reading from it. And let me show you. Let me show you Kim's book. This is her laureate book, Deer Trails. Kim is so wonderful in her own right, and we're thanking her for doing what she does as laureate and today. So here we go. Here's Kim standing in for Devorah in her own wonderful presence.
I don't know how possible it really is to stand in for Devorah. I saw somebody ask if she's ill. She's ill, and so I'm pinch hitting here. And my apologies, because obviously it's better to have the author read her own work. Devorah and I have known each other for longer than I want to admit to. Kim McMillan, who's in the house, used to always put me either in some way between her and Opal Palmer Adisa when I was cutting my poetry teeth as a performer. And so we've read together an awful lot, and I'm not going to try to do her because that doesn't work either. I've tried that before. I'm just going to hop right into reading a few of her pieces, but we just have to wish her well at this point. Califia's song. My heart does not sing songs of hate, fear, or regret, for my name will be braided into the lightning of time. Califia, daughter of seafaring Mandenka, queen of Amazon defenders, tamer of wild beasts. I have ridden the backs of griffins to come to these rocks, where clothed in sea crystals, draped in gold and the evening's wind, I savor freedom's harvest. Stardust. Out of clay, they caution. Dust to dust, they intone. From earth you came, and to earth you will return, they admonish. They remind us we are mortal and subject to death, yet insist on their eternals, demons and angels, paradise or purgatory, merely human with a finite measure of days. But we have exploded as novas, burned through galaxies, explored far reaches of the Milky Way, ridden on the tails of comets, danced on the edge of asteroids, until, in a dizzying frenzy of passion, we fell through the viscous ozone, past cooling clouds, to settle in the ooze that feeds the ocean floor. It was there that we decided to grow limbs and tongue, all the while holding inside the truth of our origin: magnesium, calcium, iron. We are the stuff that stars are made of. It's a scientific fact, a cosmic trust. In ignorance and in knowing, we hold grains of the divine inside ourselves, and we always have. This is called Almost Drowning. 1. In the midst of it all, I know I must come up for air or quickly learn to breathe underwater. 2. Cresting ocean above my head, I hold back the gasp and open my mouth, deeply swallow air in one huge gulp before descending again into the salted waters, to shoot up once more towards the sun, unfold, absorb, lay back, inhale, before again descending. 3. I dive lower than I can imagine. Looking above, I see a glimmer reflecting below the ocean's choppy surface. I cut the waves, break through for a moment, breathe as I let the waves return me to the shore. Creation paradox. We hold the great-great-grandparents of our ancestors' grandparents in our bloodstreams, in our stomachs, in our hearts. Thousands of years rest inside our souls. In those years lives the recordings of our beginnings. It is the sweetest marrow in our spine, the cleanest shine in our eyes, the open side of our laughter. You can read it in the lines on the soles of our feet. When we retell the stories of where we came from, we draw back tree branches to find hidden fruits, which we savor, pointed thorns, which make us bleed, the yesterdays that led to here, the here that leads to tomorrow. When we go back to the beginning, we find the stars. In the beginning, there was a time, we all say, when we were not. After that time, we became. We were created, we were molded, we were spat out, we were sung into until we learned how to make, what to form, where to split, why to sing. But once, long ago in the beginning, there was only one, and from the one, that is the story we all tell. But before that beginning, before the in the beginning, beginning when we were born, there must have been another beginning. Before the spider crafting web laying 16 eggs, before the mountain birthing lovers, birthing children, before the sky settling low to mate with earth, before light, before darkness, before breath even, there must have been another beginning. A beginning that lives in a place we call unknowable, yet is braided into our genealogies. And it is said, in this beginning, the beginning before our beginning, it is there that you must go if you want to find the faces of God. Thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years rest inside our souls. This is called mixed ancestry. I, a planet varied, sea to land, calm to storm, wondering in the mirror, where did the eyes come from? And the texture of hair. Who contributed to the skin tones and who to the lips, thoughtfully dividing the source of my limbs, my hips, my face. I, landless, homeless, being so much a mixture, a couscous of spices and fruits, a mongrel of the comings together, chosen and forced of so many different ones, a crossbreed that fills the spaces between rich, dark, and translucent fair, a mutt that has unruly fur, cropping out in varied shades, ears and tail being strangely incongruent, a grafting of cultures that insists where love fails, life will persist, thrive, recreate, a planet varied, mountains to hills, to valleys, to chasms deep, waterfalls to rivers, to streams, to oceans wide. I, melange, I, claiming my space in the rainbow. It's an interesting thing, an aside, this is Kim now, that devorah and I are actually the same mix. Just sit with that for a minute. I'm gonna do one more if I can find it quickly. The only real problem, well, there are two real problems with reading somebody else's work sort of at the last minute. And one of them is finding the next poem that you wanted. Usually I can, oh, here we go. Maybe not. Okay. Discipline. Discipline with simple ones, defined by strict rules and jerking alarms, punching mornings into textbooks, sharp pencils, and lined paper. In time, discipline transformed. Metronome precision to iron pole back, pulled in hips, feet pointed hard until the arch cried, thigh lifted up until it cramped and quivered. But then one night, when Coltrane and I ate the dawn together, spinning circles as we stretched the walls of my apartment, beyond the trembling trolley lines above the heaving fog, discipline became a strong but cruel lover who helped me find the ecstasy of my dreams as companion and tormentor, touchstone and shackles. Years have passed and we rest easy now. Discipline does not beat or to confine me. It's my roadmap and ladder, the key in which I sing my songs. It is myself, in and outside of the wild of me. Thank you so much for having me read her work. She's been we had one of the same mentors, and then she became my mentor, and there are at least 2 years of my life I would not have made any money at all being a poet if it weren't for Devorah. So just a thought for her well-being, and do go buy her book. Thank you.
Now, Richard, you start.
Okay, thank you so much, Kim. That was really, we're of course wishing the very best for Devorah, but you, Kim, brought to us her emotion, her rhythms, something of the voice that we love in her work. So thank you so much. Okay, our next poet is James Cagney. And this is a very different kind of book. Let me show you, first of all, I hope you can see this. This is James' first full-length book, Black Steel Magnolias in the Hour of Chaos Theory, which gives you a sense of the power of James' language. I want to talk about that a little bit more later, but it's always a beautiful celebration to have a poet's first book. This book has been out for a while, but it's still being born, and James is going to give us a feel for it today. Now, this book, as he says, I'm paraphrasing, but nothing but the blues is happening here. I mean, first of all, he's beginning with the story of a life. A young man who thought that he was an only child and found out at the age of 19, I believe after the passing of both of his parents, that he was adopted. And so then there's a whole new family involved. There's a poem here called Blood Strangers, which gives a feel for there's so much here of loneliness, there's shame, there's an overcoming in this book. And there's a tremendous power of language. James will, of course, read absolutely what he wants to, but I just want to mention a couple of poems that really powered me away. Holy strata of skin, skin and sweat, I think. Vigil, Vespers. There's a stand-up poem which is tough. This whole book has a jagged power in language. And there's a poem, My Doctor Says, which is a jagged, stand-up, grim, funny power poem. So let's bring James on to celebrate this language here, a language that really powers itself and is inventive, deeply inventive. Here we go, James. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I love you desperately, Richard. And I send love as well to Kim for stepping in for us. And all of my love right now goes back as well to Devorah. A bunch of years ago, Devorah asked me if I'd be interested in sitting in a writers group that she was trying to put together. And I was like, of course, I have to. At that time, I wanted to push beyond just poetry and try to do some other kind of writing. And that writers group was my personal MFA program. So I sat with her and Opal Palmer Adisa and Aya De Leon and learned how to do this. So all of my love and heart right now is with Devorah as she's going through today. And so here we go. Let's start and do some poems. Richard, I absolutely can open with Vigil for Vespers. Absolutely. Here we go. We start from the book. And this is Vigil for Vespers, opus number 38. If each star were a flame fountaining beneath an onyx teepee, then let elder tongues in an orbit of whispering moth wings lick the flames with stories. The Milky Way is here because I am here, and it is well worth crying over. I cannot stop offering my own solar system of ghost pepper tears. The endless equations calibrated on night's chalkboard, a tarot of planets scattered across the topographical map of the sky's arachnid body. Bet the coins between corpses' teeth that all the hoaxes of love dissolve to moon dust back home. I am less a crumb on the lip of this cake, on this lake. How its tongue sleepwalks a language night often mistranslates in dreams. The harmonic choir of cutthroat trout sounds cribbed from the pages of Rachmaninoff's Lost Rhapsody, a tragedy in silence, lulling me into this all-night vigil for Vespers and starlight's uneasy correspondence with gravity. It's hard to lie quietly in the unmade bed of a prehistoric crater with its sweet sheets of sagebrush and not consider love's offices bankrupt and ridiculed back home. It turns out when I was thinking of doing this reading that I kind of had a theme going. And that theme is that if you get no closure, you make your own, I guess. As an artist, I guess that's exactly what we're all trying to do. And I wanted to read some poems that found me sort of turning towards a thing that bothered me, as opposed to turning away and trying to pretend that that thing did not happen or doesn't bother me. Embrace the pain, embrace the question, I guess is what I'm saying. This is a poem that came out a few months, the late last year, and I wish would have made the book. This poem is called 88, and I wrote this for the distance between me and my birth mother. There are 88 miles between us, rocked, raw, and dead-ended. 88 miles of asphalt poured gumbo hot. Meteorite roadkill ignites into white phosphorus solar flares, blurring what's left of Route 66. 88 hospice beds grow wild in a Fibonacci bouquet along Burma Shave highways. 88 gray wolves hopscotch the distance while the dawn's sun branches the horizon like a plum. A squadron of 88 blood moons hover the interstate above a keyboard of crows pitching eggs like grenades. 88 days have passed without incident involving unwanted riverbank babies begging for bottles in the blackberry bushes. No matter how many flower beds I crawl into, they're not as warm as the grave of your final embrace. 88 bayous boil down to banks of saltpeter, bringing whole brotherless armies to their knees in service to shame. 88 deltas bubbling crawfish the color of devotion roses. Born again crustaceans pinching hallelujahs from the air. I am one of 88 men staring at a photograph of someone dying or dead. The person in the photo resembles a melting sculpture, its mouth loose as a child's shoestring, the yolk leaking from their eyes. I have been here before, standing bedside, awaiting the drop. Unsure of what to pray for, I keep clearing my throat. We are not touching. My hands don't know you, so they hang from my arms like sleeping bats, while death steps off the elevator holding 88 sunflowers dripping crinkled leaves. I am squinting to focus a memory having blurred into strangers. Perhaps I should hurry my apology, but where was I going with it? This makes 88 times I thought all scotch was consecrated, while 88 tongues await the unleavened forgiveness of the body. I smoked 88 blunts at the double-locked door of a no-vacancy church where God keeps their eyes bashfully shut. I spent 88 Septembers in solitary casinos pulling slot machines until one pays out an infant coughing up its own skeleton. 88 days have passed, and I stay climbing the mountainside, wishing I were a son you found worthy enough to see rise. All right. So I sat in a Zoom poetry reading earlier this week by Francine Harris, and she asked a question, how many only children have written poems for siblings that they don't have? I did not get to give her an answer, but I basically just finished a cycle of poems that was triggered in a way by Federico Lorca's poem, Trip to the Moon. If you don't know it, quick spoiler, that poem is the sort of script treatment for a surrealist film that Dali would have shot. But for me, this was good. Basically, this piece is I'm going to give you a list of images and then a cycle of poems after those images that basically got triggered and opened up. This long piece is called Vanishing Twin Syndrome, and this is for all of the friends that I have lost over the years, all of the brothers that I wish I had had. Birthday cake in blue concentration, cascading brooches of hibiscus sugar flowers, 9 floating candle flames shiny as dimes. A tablescape of children, faces erased digitally or obscured as through nylon, making viewers recall a robbery. Dense funky collards, mud dauber popsicles, pigeon-toed panthers, elbows ashy and anonymous, inflamed collision of afros sheened, lips purpled from drank after drank, bikes triple parked on the porch. September 1977. God's eye view of a cantaloupe patterned kitchen floor, a mother, a drooling sink, a link of children run diagonally from the dining room to the back door. Backyard. Children mount a green pickup truck and it dissolves into a pirate ship under the stage direction of a barking, dirty dog. Close up on one child. This is the birthday boy. His skin shiny, new shirt smeared with cake. He triumphantly climbs a bumper. Main title, Vanishing Twin Syndrome. From the bumper, birthday boy now sees his friend standing at the chicken wire fence where the driveway ends, holding a gift box. Further behind his friend, a car idles, a woman smokes. The birthday boy leaps from the car and bounds down the driveway, the dog shadowing him but quick. Two friends now stand separated by a simple homemade fence and a gift box. Birthday boy is handed the box. He opens it. Signal loss. Cut to black. Voiceover. I don't have the weather for this. To rein in all the selves I've been too naive to value. My sky quilting caterpillar shut. It is not fear of amputation that keeps me from reaching out. Everything I have is severed. It's the same fear frost has of the morning sun. I too sweat mass under dominion of certain glances. I will be abandoned here where it is dark and untalked about. I am the single twin born twice, a dollop of silver splashed onto a mirror. Standing at this chicken wire threshold, I remain loyal to this forgotten fraternity, even as this house crumbles into tombstones and everything, its alphas, omegas, and their outmoded almanacs, oxidize into ashes. I am the single twin born twice, an unfinished whole. To whom shall I pledge this rosary of tongue blood can be remixed from scratch? If you don't mind my terrific thirst, let me lick the pop rocks smudging your palm. This anointment, its makeshift rite of passage, a vaccine from memory sickness, stain of ash after the covenant of brothers. Boyhood being a religious science with expressive ceremonies of high antiquity, hazing backroom marks, chakras spinning trues and vogues, big six boneyards of body rockin' DJ squads, bottles, blunts, and backseat Hail Marys, sequencers dripping uncleared DNA samples, sideshow smokeouts, barbecues of vinyl and burned rubber, sandglass bulbs counting decades in falling dice. If I stick out my tongue, you'd think I'd been lapping blood instead of sugar. Memory moths blink their frantic bellies noisily against the skull. My heart howls its back porch blues each midnight, serenading a floating platform of lunar bone, plated purple and pristine in its brilliant esoterica. Beneath the shuffle of Jupiter's tarot moons, an astrological confidence game. I'm snookered by a hustling zodiac, having never seen the hooded queen. Billiards of Amalthea and Europa spark eclipses of blood cells when colliding over my 7th house. What private never goes soldier lets the war at home draft him all 10,000 days? Could a rite of passage without bullets or barrooms lead to a manhood worth living? Is this plastic ghost possible? This hollow avatar stalking my reflection? What manner of boy is this? Breadbasket baby left amongst the milk bottles on our porch, tagged with a name scribbled quick in pencil. A boy can be broken and non-returnable if found depressed, cracked. We won't get our deposit back. Look at this here, latchkey ingrate, his crib mattress of unaddressed fan mail to imagined siblings. He's a balloon hammer. Throw a ball, he'll duck. Bad dog, bad boy, worthless reservist. Voodoo priest trading cards slapping his bike spokes. Greed is supposed to look good on boys his age, tongue-tied whenever truth's at stake. Bench-warming bitch, he's a tool with nowhere to hang in my shed. Forget shadow contracts in mud, spit, blade. Forget clamshell promises slapped tight. Honeycomb hideouts dynamited in cherry bomb blunt smoke. Children get divorced too. Served, told, sign here, stop it. Show me your hand. Show me your heart. Show me where it hurts. Pick a switch from the tree with the blackest shade and come here. Remaining loyal to bad habits, I hold this lotus at your throat like a knife, robbing your pockets of sandalwood and suede. Snatch your flashy cinnamon aura to backtrack the formula that made you. This is a prayer in reverse, where I genuflect and fill myself with your aromatic grapefruit lather, your magnolia white pepper stew. In butterfly language, there's no word for grief. So their floating devotionals trigger me to feed them from my eyes. Memory happens like this. A pond of contemplative pigeons rippling the sidewalk, shattering the air around you at once. Wings whipping their panicked festival. What dusty pictures arise? You never had control. You always had choice. This part is called Invention of Intimacy, and this is in the same cycle of poems I'm doing. We liked one another better than our fathers liked us. Our favorite stories were always myths involving vanquishing, soldiers eaten down to the bone, cities exploding to the joy of waltzing monsters, resting another's will, mechanics of pain. We kick-started together once we realized blood had flavor, things with aroma, a plastic action figure, a ribbon of ripped fabric, a golden thigh, a spray of hair, its bushy rabbit, the soft medicinal roux of a tongue tracing, folding, Greco-Roman pantomimes. Touch me like you're blind. My ribs, my spine rhyme in braille. Punctuation in hair. Tiny commas stuttering periods on sentences left incomplete. Thought bubbles hiccuping ellipses. Pretend it's a joke toppling you into tickles. On the tarot card, the Tower, 'twas a joke that sent everything tumbling. Is this too inside, like warm clothes being seasoned for laundry? Red briefs, rare interior, scalding broth, spilling, spraying, springs, droplets. Boys armed with flowers promoted to guns or swords, beaten senseless on the fence posts, dancing dirty, auditioning for hell, nasty as shovels for ditches or spoons still needing to be licked. We're almost done, y'all. All right. Patrolling visions. Dice juggled like nipples along iced fingertips. Excuse my touch and its primal directive. These fleshy antennae scan melodic frequencies mid-air. Beatbox djembes, the yelp of rubber soles breaking Mach 1 on the court. In the dark, in the seams, underground, beneath the tulips, their ticklish roots trace back to a technicolor heart, a convict beating against his bone cage. Nothing wild waits or stands on ceremony. Since winning is at stake, I won't be picked this round. A certain scream haunts my silences. Lightning struck once, now I chase every cloud with delicious stupidity. This fraternal rite was counterfeit from jump, a spam love letter assembled by a Russian bot. No fire burns here. The element needed to fuse us together hasn't been discovered. No fire burns here, yet I am consumed down to the red sketch of my skeleton. Beneath this skull of sweat, I disco ball. I don't want to say anything. I need something said to me. It's why I once ran to a psychic who described my spirit as disrobing my body, an adolescent slouching out of overalls. It made him laugh mid-reading this unveiling, an aura in clown makeup, even as it explained the perpetual motion of a heart plunging through time. Boys eat gravel, spit lit matches, first tattoos of rusted metal, bitter coins of tongued scabs, peeled skin bananaed back into place. Born clean of my mother, daily I dress myself in mud and axle grease, fish skin and coyote blood. Birds see me as the herald of death, kicking the confinements of silence. I dent every frame, crack every shell, test every system, even this cluster of nerves, the last on earth. If nothing gets tested, how will we know anything works? I perfectly dismantle anything unbroken, break land speed records on my Schwinn. Bionic with skill, I can fly. This body awarded with stitches. Every weekend I am thrown together again in my father's Golgotha. Says he brought me here and wants his money's worth. And his money and his word is bond, not sorry. He thumped sorry words out of my mouth. Words I suck too hard like bad candy. He says, love makes men weak. Save that word for when you start your first fire, nobody can put out. All right, this is the final poem in this running cycle of poems I'm doing. This is the last one written, and this is what I've been working on for the during the pandemic. This poem is based on me sitting with my biological brother after I physically met him. I met him as an adult, and this particular poem was inspired because of the poem 88 that I read earlier with my biological mom dying. This is the first contact I have with my biological brother after her death, a funeral I did not attend. So this is called Heirloom Noodles, and this is where we stop. He and I share mothers, but entirely different origin stories. 3 Fridays after she died, we meet for dinner at a mirror-walled restaurant. It's dervish of steaming platters, noodles taffy pulled at the door. This feels like another flimsy love affair I want to kick away from. But he's the only one to remember me, as if my life really did happen. I don't like who I am with him. We both should be different. We, neither of us, will speak in honest diagnoses of soured rooms, the body's dark, indifferent magic, breath leaving a path of bruises, or how people frost and drop off the vine while you watch them, your hands pocketed clean. Having buried my mother already, I know this territory. My hands salted with the fever from 100 foreheads. A brother should tell another what's coming as much as what's been. I've rehearsed this meal for days now, but after sitting with him, I forget my line. We play catch with silence and trivia. His tears metronome the rim of his full plate, a crash of salt. This awkward intimacy between men, how we punch the confines of our closest embraces. All right, I thank you so very kindly for being here this afternoon. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much. Thank you, James. James Cagney. Thank you, Kim Shuck. And we're sending so much love to Devorah Major. So much love. And I want to remind you to look in the chat box, these 2 wonderful books. These wonderful books, Devorah Major's brand new book, Caliphia's Daughter, and Black Steel Magnolias in the Hour of Chaos Theory. You can find links to purchase these in the chat box. And to get info about our future readings, this is our very first Poetry Flash virtual event. It's historic. And you can get info about our future readings by signing up with the email link that's in the chat box. And also, if you are interested in supporting Poetry Flash during these unprecedented times, please find the donation link in the chat box. This reading is being recorded and it will be posted on our Facebook page, the Poetry Flash Facebook page. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you and love you so very much.
Thank you. Love you.
Good job, James.
Thank you. Thank you
I
so
really
much.
enjoyed
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, much thanks. Much
Thank you too, Tarita. Much love to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us.
Hey, Tarita, good to see you.